Today I'll be giving you a final review on the Samsung QN90C. Now, I'm going to tell you as honestly as I possibly can, please don't buy this. It's just not worth it. That's as fast as any YouTuber is going to tell you. Most like to waste your time so that you can build excitement for a product that truly isn't worth it so that they can get commissions off of affiliate marketing. That is not my game here. I am crowd and self-funded, so if you see that little join button down below, make sure you join because that's how we can be this honest. There you go. So you know 100% there's no conflict of interest. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about why I don't recommend this television. They talk about mini LEDs and quantum matrix technology, and we go into the service menu in one of my prior videos, as you guys see, to do a local dimming zone count where we get 504 zones of local dimming. At no point is there any attempt to create an image that actually utilizes all of the local dimming zones at all. Instead, you get this image that looks like it does right here on the screen, where it's just hazy and ugly, and they'll try to claim, oh, but that's because it's an LED. If you don't like that, go OLED. Every single time a manufacturer has an OLED on the market, their LED TVs by design always get worse. I've talked about this syndrome with these manufacturers for many years, and it's called a conspiracy theory. Well, here we are with the worst ever Samsung QN90 series in existence. This, once relegated as one of the most premium of TVs money could buy, now has the performance of a $400 to $300 TV. I'm not joking. I have seen some of the worst TVs money can buy, and this is at the top of that list for 2023 so far. I cannot imagine paying $1,899, $2,000 plus tax, full price for this TV, and then getting all of this disgusting blotchiness. It just does not look good at all, right? Now, this is a real problem because we're in an age where, again, like mini LEDs are supposed to get us closer to OLED black levels. Now, if you don't know jargon like blooming, clouding, edge bleeding, all that really means is when you're in a dark room, you don't have black levels, you have some white up here. That's, blooming, or you got some leaking of some color or some white lights here that shouldn't be there. It's just describing general haziness that shouldn't exist on pictures. And so don't get bogged down by all the jargon. It's just a way of describing things. Typically, when you have a black background, like a high bright contrast piece, and you have black on the background, you want that black to be really deep and illuminating what needs to be illuminated. This TV can't do it. It can't do it so bad that basically it's IPS level performance. It's hazy, it's desaturated, it never really feels vibrant like the old QLEDs, and honestly, it feels like a total waste of money. Now, I'm putting this out there as bluntly as possible because, again, I know that there are YouTubers put up to talking positively about products from the manufacturers and stuff like that. We've all seen it and we all know about it. And I know like some people can feel like maybe, oh, you're bought off by another manufacturer to talk badly about this company every time there's something negative. But I'll just say this and maybe extend an olive branch to everybody. When you're upset about a product yourself, right? The first thing you do is you maybe like try to get your money back, or you leave a review, or you voice some sort of dissatisfaction. As a reviewer, I usually don't have that luxury. It's usually more or less me just kind of letting you know, like, it's not worth your money as an honest reviewer. Now, this is perceived as a bias or a hatred towards the brand sometimes, but if this, what I'm showing you right now, is any indication, the pale, washed out skin tones, the lack of saturation in the color where it needs to be, the hazy black levels that creep up into the color in a dark room, all of this is going to be your experience if you pick this TV up, and I cannot save you from that. So my aim is to be as honest as possible so that you don't waste what little money we all work so hard to get. It always seems like we're living to work these days. We come home and then we get right back up to work, right? You finally save up enough, or God bless you, you make enough to where money's no object. You don't want to have to deal with problems like these where they're charging literally premium price tags that, like, for $18.99, you usually would walk away with a king of a television, and now you're walking away with a turd. This is $300 price range material, like the haziness up here, all of this. And one can argue like, oh, maybe it's stress testing content, or some people even try to say like local dimming is off, or I'm playing games with the TV, or whatever the case may be. We hear it every year. My point with this TV is simply put, it can get bright, the brightness comes as a problem. And honestly, it feels like to me, there is no point really in testing further because not even my settings could save it. I'm there trying to lock in values, trying to see what this TV can do, and it just didn't have a whole lot that it could do over the competition. Now, when that's the case, that's usually when I have to call it and tell you, like, it's what I would call trash. It's a non-rank. It has no potential to rank. It really does rank at the absolute bottom of the totem pole in terms of televisions. I do not say that every day for every single television. When I say it, I mean it. And if you buy it, you pick it up, and you see what I'm saying, you're going to run into some of these issues. When I tell you over the air was the worst I'd ever seen on a TV at this price range, I'm not joking. Faces were muddy. There was a lot of blurry textures. It didn't make sense. You were going to have the worst time ever if you're watching any kind of news broadcast or, station television, or even if you're on Hulu and you're watching Hulu Live or something like that, ESPN, whatever, you're going to experience some of the worst black levels in existence. I'm not joking. If pictures like this don't paint a full picture for you, nothing else will. Now, to be fair, what I'll do is I'll open everything up for you. We're going to go into our menu option, and you're going to see, I'm going to go down to local dimming. Local dimming right now is set to standard. Now, this is how it ships out of the TV. You can go to low, but that's not going to change anything. I can go to low, and all that's going to happen is it's just going to be hazy and a bit dimmer, but still very hazy, as you can clearly see. Okay, so then we can try something else, right? Let's be adventurous. Let's see, maybe I'm doing it backwards. Of course, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's go to high on local dimming and see if maybe that is how it works. Well, now it just got worse. You see my point? There is no outcome where local dimming is doing its proper job. And again, if firmware corrects this down the road, good for them. But day one, you should have your product working the way it's supposed to. And we've seen these kind of tight, isolated areas where we see local dimming is trying to dim down something, but the native contrast ratio is just so low that it turns into basically a gray canvas, and it looks disgusting. And this kind of experience will ruin all of your nighttime viewing when you have scenes like this in movies, where there's any kind of particle effects in the background like that. All that's going to fall apart, and you're going to look at your TV and you're going to be like, what the hell did I just pay all this money for? This is disgusting. This is the direction of the modern LED market when we talk about Samsung, Sony, and LG, because all three of them are heavily focusing on more flagship 80-inch televisions that they can pretend like they're putting more effort in just to disappoint you in. And then, of course, more obviously, they're spending a lot of their budget on the OLED technology. Anyone who makes an OLED technology, never buy an LED from them is usually the rule of thumb, because they're going to look like this 9 times out of 10. Now, to be fair, in the current market, this is about industry standard. This is what you're going to expect across the board from all these manufacturers, more or less. It's not going to get much better, at least I don't expect it to, based off of what I've seen from every one of these companies. What I can tell you is, again, is very long-winded, I got you, but I'm really covering my bases here because I understand, this maybe can put you off, right? That's the point. I don't want you to buy a TV that does this to you for that kind of money. I have the Samsung QN90B. Even with all the controversy revolving around all the bad firmware and all that stuff, you are still better off buying that TV, locking in my settings for $5, saving that astronomical price point. I mean, you could pick it up right now for what, $16.99, $15.99? This TV is going to cost you at least $200, $300 more. For what? You know what I mean? And on top of that, you still get my nice epic settings. You joining for $5, good to go. Same thing with the LG C1. You pick it up for $13.99, I saw it, and that's for a 65-inch. Get my settings for $5. I guarantee you it will blow away everything this TV can do. The reason I say this to you is because, again, as we sit here and we go image after image after image after image after image, it's clear this is not a premium product. Not in the build quality, that's all plastic. Now this year, for the first time, I think, since the QN90R, you can't put a soundbar underneath your so-called premium 9 series Samsung, 90 series Samsung. So it's frustrating for me to watch these TVs get worse, because then I have to come out and I have to be like, hey guys, it's not fantastic. It's pretty bad. We're not going to enjoy a whole lot of it. And some people can feel as though he's playing ISO tricks or whatever. I'll tell you, get it and find out. And I know that's kind of the whole vibe. And you must be wondering, well, are there any redeeming qualities? Not really. The user interface is sticky. It's not really as responsive as I'd hoped it would be. There's no point in testing pretty much anything outside of that because motion isn't exactly fantastic either. I really am finding a hard time expressing just how truly mediocrely terrible this television truly is, and how this is one of the worst TVs I think I've ever seen at this price point ever. So all I can simply say to kind of round this video out is it's hazy, it's ugly, it looks like a trash television. And that's just the best that I can give you, because showing all the normal stuff that I would normally show off on these TVs, this is just not performing where it needs to. And it gets so much worse when you're using built-in apps. Like, I was trying to watch YouTube. That was disgusting on this TV. So if you're buying this to use built-in apps, forget about it. You're like almost always going to have to use an HDMI device. If that's something that bothers you, that's going to be a deal breaker. And we can go down the list and kind of play that with everything. So hopefully this helps you guys out. No idea if it will, but if it does, smack a like on this video. And as always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. Till the next video, don't buy this TV.